Welcome to this Thirsty Thursday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. We're coming today live as we do every single day, noon to 2 Eastern, from the Question Tequila Studios. We're super lucky now because we're double fortified. We have the Hooters Heat spirits brought to us by Iconic Brands. Richard DeSico, the CEO of Iconic Brands, is going to be here on Monday. He's going to bring a whole line of Hooters spirits for a little happy hour party after the show on Monday. We'll give you some more information on that a little later on in the show. We are downtown in New York City. Yes, Mom, we're still on Broadway. Right down the street, the New York Stock Exchange could use a drink. That's for sure on a Thirsty Thursday. Dow down 80, holding in a range here. There's some fears out there about the coronavirus. We'll be talking about that later on in the show with Tim Henschel from HotelPlanner.com. And Bitcoin holding steady at 9,300. I think 10,000 is on the horizon. Things are looking up on that front, and things are always looking up for us. When my managing editor pops in, Frankie's in the Frank Zone. How are you, my friend?
I'm great. Great to be here in the Frank Zone. Thirsty Thursday, always one of my favorite days of the week.
It sure is. So what's going on out there, Frankie? A lot of news, impeachment, questions and answers. I thought the Republican arguments were really good yesterday. I know you don't care about impeachment, but I know you respect Professor Dershowitz heavily.
Yeah, it's not that I don't care about it. I'm not going to waste my time watching something that we already know the outcome of or discussing. We have a precious 2 hours on television each day, a couple of minutes less when there are technical problems. So I don't want to waste precious television real estate when there's no drama. We all know how it's going to end, when we could actually be talking about things that are actually interesting or informative or the solutions to the real problems in the world.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. I was commenting, I really liked Professor Dershowitz, really reasoned, thoughtful arguments. I'm with you. They should have just asked for dismissal, took a vote, threw the whole case out, and move on. Let the Democrats start another impeachment if they want, but let's get rid of this one. We know what's going to happen. I'm totally with you. And Frank, the money train continues. It seems like everywhere you look, they're talking about millions and hundreds of millions. And Donald Trump, we had Kimberly Guilfoyle on. She said they're looking to raise $1 billion or something. What can we do about this?
Well, John, that is precisely what I am speaking, frankly, about. Often do, John, you have put your finger precisely on one of the big problems with not only government but politics today. Now, the amount of money in politics is just staggering. You want to know how much money was spent on the 2016 presidential campaign? $6.4 billion. $6.4 billion. Think of what could have been done instead of endless commercials that everyone fast forwards through or mail people just throw away. That is a 50% increase from the 2000 election, 50% in just 4 election cycles. So the ultimate problem with this is one on the effect of government productivity. You know what your congressman is doing right now? Well, chances are he's probably on the phone begging for money from the very same people that he's supposed to be regulating. A congressman, in order to stay in office, if just to have a prayer of staying in office, has to raise $10,000 a week. Just to stay in office, just to have a shot at staying in office. If he wants to be in the leadership, you're talking about trying to raise $25,000, $30,000 a week. That leaves very little time for you. And you know what? Mike Bloomberg is spending $10 million on a Super Bowl commercial. So is Donald Trump. The only reason anybody knows who Tom Steyer is because he bought himself a spot on the debate stage. A lot of people have said to me from time to time, why don't you run for office? You might have thought to yourself, why don't you, watching this, run for office? The bottom line is, unless you're independently wealthy, or you're already a politician, or you're in the pocket of some well-heeled special interest groups, be they right-wing or left-wing, you don't have time to take off from your job. Because if you were to take off from your job and put in that amount of time and effort, you'd be fired. You can't live without 2-3 months without a paycheck. So what's the solution? Well, we're going to look to the Pacific Northwest, and I want you to look further into this, because we're not going to have time to go into detail now. But the city of Seattle is doing something very, very novel called democracy vouchers. What if, instead of when a politician wanted to run for office, they called Joe Q millionaire, instead of doing that, what if every American got mailed to them a $25 voucher, maybe 4 $25 vouchers, and they can only use this voucher to give to another candidate running for office. It can't be used for food, can't be used for anything else. You can only use it to make a campaign contribution. And every politician running for federal office would have to go directly to the people to beg for their campaign funding instead of to millionaires and billionaires or left-wing or right-wing special interest groups. Give it a look. Democracy vouchers, it's working very well in Seattle. I think it could work very well on a federal level.
You know what, Frankie? Fantastic point. Although I don't agree with them much, it was all that whole thing was started by the guys from Ben and Jerry's, and on this one, I think it would be a good way to even out the process. And it's about time we even out the process, because I'll tell you what, I've mentioned this before. I get up in the morning, I put on Morning Joe. I call it Morning Joke because it's a joke the way they twist and manipulate the news, okay? But this morning, I saw some reporting from them that I thought was quite interesting. That's a picture of my TV in my living room that I took at 6 a.m. this morning. And the poll said, a Real Clear Politics poll, says 72% of Americans polled want to replace everyone in Congress.
Huh.
So that's like 3/4 of the country want the whole lot of them gone, and we've talked about that, and maybe if people had vouchers, then we could have a whole different way of funding candidates. So excellent point there. And you know what? 61% of people polled, yep, that's my TV also. 61% of people polled, almost 2/3 of our country, say they're so dissatisfied with both parties that they would join a third party if it had a chance of success. And Frankie, you talked about that the other day in your Frankly Speaking when you were talking about the deficit spending, and there was never a time when a third party should emerge. 2/3 of the country agree with you, and 3/4 almost of the country would like to see every single congressman kicked out of office. I'm with them. I'd like to see a third party. Maybe our purple people can get behind this new party that emerges in the middle, because us suckers in the middle are the silent majority. They just don't want us to know it. We got a whopper of a show coming up. Manny Alejandro and Mo Vela are going to join us next. We're going to mix it up like we never did before on impeachment. Brandon Steiner is going to be here a little more to talk to us about the memorabilia market and the effects of Kobe's tragic death. And Tim Henschel's going to join us from HotelPlanner.com.
I have one bone to pick, John, before we go to break. And for a rarity, it's not with you, but it's one of our great viewers, Teresa Garcia. So there's a photo of you preparing for the show on our Facebook page, and people could join our Facebook page, facebook.com/LiquidLunchTV. And it's a photo of you. It's an interesting photo. It's kind of behind the scenes, kind of cool. And then Teresa Garcia writes, #Thirsty Thursday, and JT is back! ! This show isn't as good when others host. Now, unless I'm mistaken, John, the only other person that has hosted this show except you is me. So I took that as a direct shot, not just at me, but our entire staff.
And what about Rich Valdez? He filled in once. And,
oh, did he?
I think, yeah, remember way back?
We were both off?
He filled in for me one day.
Right, okay.
And I think Jen Kearns even sat in for you one day. But
well, that's for
hey,
me, though.
You know what, Teresa? We aim to please. And if you're not happy with the supplemental talent when I'm not here, I'm going to try to take off less so that you're happy. But we're going to have a whopper of a show today coming at you right after this with a Thirsty Thursday like you've never seen before. You're watching Liquid Lunch.